Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Ryan Nordahl here with Epic Whitetail Habitat LLC. If you haven't yet, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. I'd really appreciate it. Turn on the bell notification. Every time that we upload a new video, you get that video notification right away. For any products, tools that you see in this video, look for links in the description below. I'd greatly appreciate it. Today, I want to talk about screening everything from your food plots, stands, your access and egress. It's very important. During the hunting season, deer should never, ever know that they're being hunted on your property. And the smaller your property is, the more critical it is that your access and your egress are hidden. Deer should never know that they're being hidden. You can get away with a lot more on larger properties, that's for sure. But when it comes to these small properties, the average property that I do my consultations on are anywhere from 20 acres. I've done all the way down to 5 acres. Very, very critical that deer never know they're being hunted on those small properties at all. Even on my 80 acres, even on the family farm, which is just over 200 acres. Here at my home, 16.5 acres. We try to implement screening everything. We take advantage of the topography if we can. We are blessed here in west central Wisconsin with some pretty good hills and valleys that we can take advantage of. Blowing our scent into as the thermals settle in the evenings, down into some of these valleys, out into swamp locations. We're keeping our access and our egress hidden. Our food plots are screened. Even here at home, it's very important because I'm in a wide open setting here in our home property. My small little micro plots within my 80 acres of woods, they're screened. Whether we're implementing hinge cutting as far as edge feathering goes, dropping those trees out into the food plots themselves, along ag fields. Even on the family farm, I'm doing reverse edge feathering. By that I mean we're dropping the tops of those trees back in the timber. I have to do that on the family farm because my brother is very critical to take advantage of as much of that field edge as he possibly can because he's trying to grow a crop for commercial sale of those crops. So that is something that we have to do and reverse engineer it. And it works. But I like edge feathering because it creates a soft edge. Deer have to come out into the plot. They can't see directly out into the ag field. They can't see directly out into those food plots themselves. Deer have to come in and check those areas out. The mature bucks that we're after, any bucks that we're after, it doesn't matter. I don't care what you shoot. We're after bigger bucks, mature bucks, but it doesn't matter what you shoot. That's totally up to you. But deer must never know they're being hunted. That's the number one and most important thing to understand to have greater success. Even my stand locations, as I'm approaching my stand locations, not so much as I'm climbing the tree, but I try to know where the deer are bedded in accordance to a food plot. If I'm over hunting a small micro plot within the woods, I have one great little stand location behind my parents' house on the family farm. It allows for great swamp access to get into that stand silently, totally concealed from any of the bedding areas that are close by. It's a wide open little swamp, probably about a half-acre swamp location. But the natural tag alders in there, especially early on in September, early October, still have their leaves on. It allows for a great screening access. We're utilizing pallets across that swamp location because it does hold some water, keeps our feet up out of the water, keeps us from sloshing that water as we're stepping through it. Those pallets are secured. We're even going to go as far this year. We found some old cow mats from a stall barn, a neighbor's stall barn. We're going to implement those over those pallets to even silence our access even more. But those tag alders are so dense, even when they drop the leaves, the stems and the branches and everything are so dense, it still allows us that screening that we're looking for to sneak into that stand location. For those of you who have followed me in some of my live videos and stuff, you've seen that particular stand location. You know what I'm talking about. I've even hinge cut trees out in front of the tree stand itself. So I'm at least hidden when I approach the stand, when I'm staging before I climb up that stand location. My ladder sticks for that particular stand are on the back side of that tree. I'm totally concealed as I climb up and climb down that stand. Of course, we're using safety lines. We're totally attached to that tree from the time we leave the ground to the time our feet hit the ground at the end of the hunt. But again, we're talking about screening. Screening everything. The deer must never know that they're being hunted during the hunting season. Again, the smaller the property, the more crucial this point is. If you have terrain features, by all means, try to use them. Always pick out your stand location and then figure out how you're going to access and exit that stand location. So if deer are in any food plots, any ag field setting that you might be hunting over, how you're going to get out of there without being detected by the deer that are in those locations at the end of the hunt. We even go as far as having somebody else drive in to get us with a pickup, car, four-wheeler, tractor, whatever we got to do, so deer do not know that they are being hunted. They cannot know. It's very, very crucial to drive that point home. We failed in the past. These last couple of years, it just has to do with my work schedule and everything. I've neglected to screen my food plot off here at home. The deer just aren't using it like they should during daylight hours. And that's because of the screening. Even though it's wide open around here, it's kind of on top of a hill, they can see down to the house. I always know that when that food plot is screened, just from experience, when that food plot has been screened, we've had all kinds of daylight activity in there. Even, I think it was 2019, we had some really great encounters with some really great bucks. My oldest son had an encounter with a Boone and Crockett. Unfortunately, the way our property sets up here at home, house down in the bottom of the valley, my wife took off going to school that day, or had to go to school that afternoon to get our second oldest son from basketball practice, and it blew the whole deal. But it was unbeknownst to her. Those things happen, especially here at our home. It's just the way our property sets up. We're trying to work on a little bit different plan, but we got to do what we've got to right now. But we're working to bring those food sources a little bit closer to the house itself, get them screened off, and keep our depth of cover to the north from the house to the north property line. But it's working. What we're doing is working here on this property. But again, everything must be screened. Whether you're using hinge cuts, whether you're using, conifers, like conifers as in spruce, I use a lot of red Norway pine because those red Norway pine grow a little bit faster than those spruce do, give us that height. I've even implemented using hybrid willow. Silky willow is a great option because deer tend to not prefer to browse on silky willow versus a hybrid willow. You have to protect those hybrid willows, even using illicit from Domain Outdoors. Great screening products, but what I don't want to use is I don't want to use a food source for screening. I don't want to use corn. I don't want to use certain grain millets, grain sorghum, anything like that where deer have the potential to be browsing on those food sources. Deer are not grazers, they're browsers. But anyway, it's very important to have the right type of screening and to screen absolutely everything. We've even gone as far as stacking up logs. We had the time to do it. We stacked up logs kind of in a Tinker Toy, or not Tinker Toy, but Lincoln log style, and we've hinge cut trees on top of those logs to give us an even more effective screen. We did that for a client in northern Minnesota. I wish I had some footage or documentation of what we did on that particular property, but it worked for that client. I'm not sure since. We haven't been in contact with that client for a while, but that's neither here nor there. Again, you know, there's all kinds of different strategies that you can use, but it's very important that you screen your access and your exit. Deer must not know that they're being hunted. I know I'm repeating myself a lot, but it's through repetition that all of this is driven home so you understand it. Remember, there's a difference between knowing a thing and understanding a thing. In all that you get understanding. Thanks for joining me today. I hope you found this video somewhat educational and helpful. Happy habitat. Good luck with all your habitat projects this spring. Thank you. God bless. Keep living the dream.